Good morning, scholars. Today we're going to continue our way through Fars Homeric Greek, looking at lines 595 to 604 of Book 1 of the Iliad. This is where Hera consents to feast and Hephaestus inspires humor among the gods. Hos pato me descendetea leukolenos here. Me de sa de paidos edexato keri kupelon. Alta hoi tois alois ete ois indexia pasen. Voinoko e glugu nectar apocrete rosapuson. Aspetos da enortogelos magaresi de oisen. Hos widon hepaiston diadomata pop nu onta. Hos totamen propan hema es he elion catadunta dainunt. Udetetumos edeueto daitos evises. Men por mingos pericaleos hein ek apolon. Musaion tehai aedon ame bomene wopicale. Okay. Hos bato me descendetea leukolenos here. So me descend is first aorist from medao, and this is an alpha contract verb, and all alpha contract verbs, when they form the both the future and, as here, the first aorist, by adding the tense suffix of the sigma, that alpha gets lengthened to eta. So look at Smythe 543. Vowel verbs. Verb stems ending in a vowel lengthen a short final vowel before the tense stem. Alpha to eta, except after epsilon, iota, and rho. Thus, temao becomes timesa, etc. So this occurs in alpha contract verbs and epsilon contract verbs. Pileo, pilesa. Me de sa de paidos edexato keri kupelon. Edexato, from dekomai, accept, receive. We've seen this verb many times. But nevertheless, here we can look at this same area of Smythe, where he talks about the formation of stop verbs in the first aorist, and a labio, pi, beta, or pi, and a palato, kappa, ga, gamma, or ka, when these are the stops at the end of the verb stem, they unite with sigma to form psi or xi, or xi. The dentals, tau, delta, and theta are lost before sigma. So this whole area of Smythe, around 545 and such, you'll see if you want to take a deep dive into the principles that unite the formation of many of your verbs, you want to explore that sections. I have to admit, it's one of the final sections I took the deep dive in Smythe, so don't rush yourself, but if it's your thing, go ahead and do it. So, me de sa de paidos edexato keri kupelon. We've seen kupelon before, a drinking cup. Alta ho toisaloi sete os indexia pasen. Voinoko e glugu nectar apocrete ros apuson. So, altar, Deniston, page 55. We've seen this. It's a particle of transition or continuation. Altar is employed either to mark major transitions of narrative scene or to mark minor transitions between the stages of a unified action. So first he serves his mom, pours her cup, and then altar ho tois aloisita ois indexia pasen. Indexia is a neuter plural adverb, which a neuter plural serving as an adverb, passing it around from left to right, or working from left to right. Oino go e. From wino, like we have the Latin wine. Winos. Ko eo is from keo, to pour. So again, the payoff that comes from knowing your roots is very plentiful. So wino ko e is imperfect from wino ko eo, to drink, to pour out wine for drinking. Glucose, sweet, pleasant to the taste. We talk about our glucose level. Nectar, nectaros. This is the drink of the gods. Krater, krateros, masculine, a drinking bowl, because the Greeks always mix their wine with water. The Scythian, the northern peoples, the Thracians and Scythians and such, were known as famous drunkards because they didn't water down their wine. And so not watering down your wine, drinking it straight, was thought a great, more or less, indulgence and even fault. So apuso is to draw off the wine. So altar ho tois aloisete ois indexia pasen wino ko e gluku nectar apocrete ros apuson. Asbestos da enoeto gelos macaresite oisen. So asbestos is inextinguishable or unquenchable. Gelos is laughter. We have the verb gelao, but gelos itself is laughter. So asbestos da enoeto gelos. And anorto is from anornume, third singular, second aorist middle. Look at Smythe 736D. And anornume, ornume is a very important verb in Homer. Here in the middle, it means to break out among. So asbestos da enorto gelos. And a little note on these special forms of verbs. Smythe tells us that from verbs in nume, and this is the content of 736D, from verbs in nume, second aorist middle passives are formed in Homer by only 3 verbs. So you have from meg numi, commonly written mig nume. We have mix, so amikto, it was mixed. And then we have from ornumi, orto, to rouse, but here in orto is to break out among. And then finally from peg nume, don't know how I ended up with 2 accents on that, excuse me. Peg nume, you have to fix, or to, stab, you have kata pegto, and this is used later of an arrow entering the ground. Kata pegto. And I think it might occur one other place in the poems, but it's, a pretty unique formation for the vision of an arrow fixing itself in the ground. So there you have the wonderful details that you find in the bottom of a page of Smythe's. So asbestos da enorto gelos macaresite oisi. Gelos, as I said, is laughter. Makaros. We've seen this as an epithet of the gods. Blessed, happy, living at ease. So asbestos da enorto gelos macaresite oisen. Hos wedon hepaiston diadomata poip nuonta. So hos, unaccented, is just simply when. And wedon, of course, is our second aorist plural from third person from edo. And dia here, with the accusative can be used locally of a space transversed, so meaning through or over, and that use occurs in epic, lyric, and tragic choruses. You wouldn't see it in Plato or more serious. Tragic choruses are pretty serious, but you wouldn't see it in a prose writer. So here, diadomata means through the halls, and poip nuo is to bustle about, be busy. So our structure here, widon poip nuonta. Again, we've seen this several times. Smythe 21:10. Verbs of perception. Verbs signifying to see, perceive, hear, learn. When they denote physical, that is actual perception, take the participle. So, widon pop nuonta. Hos totemen propan hemar es he elion katadunta. So hos here is our demonstrative, thus, because of the accent. Propan, all the day long. Hemar, propan hemar. And then es he elion katadunta. This is a wonderful instance of the conversion of Latin, Greek, and English in discussing the way a poetic formation occurs. So we have this from Smythe 2053a, speaking of the attributive participle. A participle and its substantive often correspond to a verbal noun with the genitive or to an articular infinitive. Thus, in Livy's famous expression, post urbem conditam, after the founding of the city, and Milton's since created man. Now, except in expressions of time, such as hama heri arkomenoi, at the beginning of the spring, and note this is even from Thucydides, this construction is in place only when the participle is necessary to the sense. So, eis het elion katadunta, and kataduo, of course, we know is to go down with respect to the sun. So, hos totemen propan hemar es he elion katadunta dainunt. And so, dainunt is from dainunto, from dainume, to feast. It's an imperfect middle. Ude te dumos edeueto daitos ewises. Edeueto, again, imperfect middle, because he's describing, of course, the long process of what went on during the feast, from dauomai, to be stinted in the matter of X. So the genitive here is daitos iwises. Daitos is a feast. And ewisos, ewison, when applied to meals, means in which each one gets his fair share of good things. So, dainunt, udete dumos edeueto daitos ewises. Umen por mingos perikaleos hein ekapolon. So, umen is nor again. Some editors will read umain. Probably maybe nor indeed. Por mingos is a liar, and perikaleos, well-constructed, beauteous. So here we see a modern depiction. Looks kind of Art Deco, actually. I'm not sure. I'm not really an art critic, but well-constructed, beauteous, of Apollo with his lyre. But here next we have a wonderful surviving Mycenaean era sculpture, probably a little figurine of Apollo with his lyre. So this is a very important image and artifact, over 2,000 years old. Okay. Musaon tai aedon ame bamanai wopekale. Musaon, of course, is genitive plural from musai, the muses. And note that as we approach the end of the poem, the muses appear again, or the end of the book, the muses appear again, just as they were present in the first line. Maiden Aidetea, appealing to the goddess to inspire the poet. So Musa on tai aedon ame bamene wopikale. So the Musai are the muses. Edo, of course, is to sing. Ame bomai is to take one turns or to answer one another. We've seen it used more prosaically as simply a reply in these back and forths of our speeches, but here it takes a slightly different meaning, as we'll see. Wops, wopos, feminine is voice. Notice voice, voice, wops, wopos. Kalos, kale, kalon, of voice, applied to a voice, means sweet or ravishing. So altogether, ame bamenai wope kale can be translated, or Cunliffe offers, taking up the strain from one another. So, hos bato me descendetea gluco lenos here, me de sasa de paidos dexato keri cupelon, alta ho tois aloisite ois endexia pasen voinoko e, glucu nectar apocrateros abuson. Asbestos da enoto gelos macaresete oisen, hos vidon hepaiston, diadomatapoip nu onta. Hos totemen propan hema, es he elion catadunta dainunt, udetetumos edeuto daitos evises. Men por mingos pericaleos hen ekapolon, musa on dai aedon ame bamenai wopikale. Okay, so here again is that temple of Hephaestus at Athens. If you're ever there, get down to what's known as the site of the Agora, where Socrates hung about, and you'll see it perched on the hillside nearby. Okay, so have a good day. We've got one more portion to complete the book, so here we are at the end. Congratulations to all, especially to my Patreon subscribers who have access to this full course. Have a good day. Bye-bye.